What's up, folks? Welcome back to the Enduro Mike YouTube channel. A little bit quiet today, I don't know why. Just finished today's run. It was just another 5 miler, just a recovery, nice and easy. But one of the problems that I've had for the last little while is, sorry, I'm filming on my phone. It's quite hard to be accurate with it. There we go. Just real heavy legs. Like heavy lower legs. It's been since September, really, start of September. Not ideal. So one of the things that I thought I would try, I haven't ran in these since we raced at Outlaw, was I'd put my fast shoes on, because I know that they have pretty low mileage because they're running racing shoes, so they don't get worn that much. Just to see if it was my shoes that were worn out. They shouldn't be, but I just thought I would check, and it actually felt quite a bit better today. So what I thought I would do in today's video is have a look at how you can tell when you need new running shoes, just so that you guys can get a bit of value out of that, because like the general thinking is 300 to 400 miles, maybe 450, but I don't like arbitrary numbers, because if you want to listen to that and you're really light, you know, your shoes might last longer and you're spending money when you don't need to. Or if you're really heavy or you have a heavy foot strike, you know, they might not last as long, and then you run the risk of injury. So I'm going to cut to the Office of Destiny, and we shall have a little discussion about how to tell whether you need new running shoes.
All right, so we're back in the layer. Okay, so I'm going to use these. I know they're a little bit old and grubby looking. Pegasus 37s. Would you believe that Pegasus 37 got released in what? June? July? And I've already managed to destroy a pair. That is the joys of training for long distance triathlon. You go through so many pairs of shoes. So these are pretty much done. Today's run has confirmed that to me. My other shoes felt 100 times better. My legs felt 100 times better. I didn't feel like I was an elephant sort of slapping my way around the run. So what do we think about in terms of knowing when shoes are done? So the way that I always do it is I go off feel. Okay, so if they don't feel right, then they're probably finished. So the general advice is like 350 to sort of 450 miles is about the lifespan of a running shoe. And that's kind of general consensus from most manufacturers and most experts. But there's a big difference between 350 and 450 miles, yeah? You know, if you're a long distance triathlete, that's not a huge amount. Like that's maybe a month there and thereabouts. If you're doing 35, 40 miles a week, it's less than a month. It's like 3 and a bit weeks. So I don't tend to go off that. I tend to go off how they feel underfoot. And this is one of the things that if you're new to the sport, or you're new to running, you need to start thinking about. And what it basically comes down to is paying attention to your body and paying attention to kind of what feels good, what doesn't feel good. And I'm sure all of you who've been running for a little while will know how good a brand new pair of trainers feels on that first run. You know, they feel really springy, they feel really bouncy, they don't feel... Well, they might feel tight in places before they get broken in properly, but that really nice feeling wears off, and it wears off, you know, relatively quickly. You kind of get used to them. But what you really want to be thinking about is every time that you run, how those shoes feel underfoot. And there's a couple of things to pay attention to. So first of all, are they hurting your feet where they didn't used to? Okay, so I'm going to do a review on these Nike Pegasus 37. I am a big fan of Nike. All of my running shoes are Nike. A lot of my other kit is Nike. I just think it's made well, and it fits well. One of the problems that I have a lot of the time is that I get blisters like you wouldn't believe. So every time I get a brand new pair of shoes, I know that I'm in for probably a week of hell as my feet just get used to them. These are the first pair of trainers that I've ever had that I could run out of the box in and I didn't get a blister. In fact, I haven't had a blister from these shoes ever until last week. So last week I got a blister from these shoes, and that is quite a big tell that the cushioning and the foam is going in them. The reason for that is, if you don't normally get blisters and you're starting to, what that shows you is that where the foam is getting degraded and is breaking down, it's putting pressure on your feet where there wasn't pressure before. So your feet are having to get used to it. So the skin on your feet sometimes that little hot spot can just be because where the foam's now compressed and has kind of got to the end of its life, it's just it's moving around where the force is on your feet. Another thing to look at is, and this, for me, I'm going to show you the sole of this shoe, but for me this is kind of a big thing with all my shoes. But if you have a look at just the outsole, so you can see there, if I turn it around here, you can really see. So there's literally no outer sole left on that. Now, I'm kind of used to this because I kind of run quite on the outside of my feet. And I have a neutral gait, but I just land quite heavily on the outside, more so on one than the other. I mean, this one's like, you can see that as well. So these shoes have, I think they're probably about 470-ish miles on them. But they start, like my trainers will start going like that after 100 miles. They start to wear down there, but that's just because of the way that I run. So it's worth paying attention to where your outsoles wear. So if you're a heel striker, what you'll notice is that you start to really wear down the heels. I'm a mid 4 foot striker, and I strike quite far on the outside. So watch out for that, but also have a look further in. So the bits that shouldn't really wear. So if you know that you wear shoes in certain areas, have a look at the other bits. So you can see here, this is now pretty flat on that side. This one's not so bad, but it's starting to go as well. So that's another sign that, you know, these have probably got to the end of their life. The third thing, and the third tell that I like to use, is the sound. Okay. Now, if you've got a brand new pair of trainers, it doesn't matter kind of how you run, you'll notice that they sound different. So the very first time you put them on, they should be a lot quieter. And when I say a lot quieter, I mean as your foot contacts the ground, that it should take up, you know, quite a lot of the noise of your foot hitting the ground. As they start to wear out, you should notice that they'll start to get a little bit noisier. And eventually it'll sound like, you won't be, but it'll sound like you're running a little bit flat-footed. And that's just because the cushioning is now not doing its job. So you're just kind of hitting the ground a little bit harder, and that's not getting absorbed. So those are my kind of big points. First of all, pay attention to your body. See how your body feels. If your legs start tying up when they weren't before, that's probably quite a good indicator. If you start to get pain or blisters in places where you weren't getting pain or blisters before, that's a definite indicator that the foam is starting to go in the soles of your shoes. And then finally, just pay attention to what's going on with the soles. So know where you wear your shoes out, and then keep an eye on the other areas as well as those. Yeah? So those are my 3 tips for knowing when to replace your running shoes. These ones are now retired. Bless them. So it's a good job Black Friday's coming up soon. Get myself a new pair. Cool. Guys, that's it from me for today's video. I hope you found it kind of useful. If you have, and you know somebody who's starting to run, or maybe needs a little bit of help on replacing their trainers, we all know the guy or the girl who's got the 700-mile pair of trainers where there's bits flying off every time you go for a run with them. Maybe you want to send them this video. There's a share button down there. You could send it to them. If you like this and you want to check out some of my other stuff, there should be a link popping up just about now to show you something else. And if you do enjoy my random ramblings, hit the subscribe button, that would be great, and the little bell button so that you get a notification every time there is something posted. Thank you, folks. I will hopefully see you very soon. Bye bye.